All right, so welcome to this session where Rimba, the card game, is collaborating with MEME in helping young people go out there and make informative posters about Malaysian elephants. So the correct term is the Asian elephant, and in Malaysia we have two. We have the Asian elephant and we have the subspecies of the Borneo pygmy elephant, which we have in our card deck. So very quickly, I'm gonna get you guys to watch a video, and then from there we'll have our discussion on what is MEME and the work that they do. Hang on, yeah. Okay, there you go. Tell me if you can hear it, yeah?
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, so MEME is part of, it's the combination between Perhilitan and University of Nottingham. So a lot of their members have either gone on to work with government type projects or are in government. Like I think, who's in government, Abis?
Dr. Nagu?
Yeah, Dr.
Nagu used to be MEME or part of their research team. I'm not sure where Techwin is attached to. Not government.
I think Techwin is consulting, but he does consulting for the state as well. So yeah, a lot of these photographs came from MEME's work in the field. They do a lot of testing, a lot of data gathering. I've not seen it. I've seen elephant in the wild, yes. I've seen an elephant in the wild coming down the slopes to drink water in Belum. We were in a boat. Yeah, I feel like it's very different when you see a video of elephants and when you actually see an elephant. Even if you see one, it's like, wow, I made your day. Project outreach with kids, with university students. They have a lot of mobile exhibitions. Escape that screen. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about what MEME does, we are heading towards World Elephant Day, and so the celebration usually spans a couple of events that will stretch across different organizations, and some of them will be with different partners. So this year, like we did last year, we participate to encourage people to either talk about elephants or do projects around elephants. So last year we had younger kids, so we made like origami elephants, and the kids hung them up and talked about biodiversity from a kid's point of view. So this year we are trying to get young people to create posters which will either be shared through the MEME platform, through the Rimba platform, or yourself when you want to go and advocate for an issue. So if you know anything about Rimba, we were developed from the basis that we wanted to talk about forest and deforestation, and we wanted to talk about habitats. So that was kind of how we thought of elephants as a very key player in ecosystem services. So I'm going to show you another quick video. And this video is about why we protect wildlife. And then we'll go very quickly into the poster making aspect. So this kind of gives you a gist of why elephants are important.
Why is it even important to protect large animals like pandas and elephants and orangutans? Besides the fact that they're really cute, I mean, does the ecosystem they live in really need them? And why should we care? First, let's just get really specific. Let's talk about elephants. And if we're going to do that, we need to start with their ecosystem. Ecosystems can be thought of as a complex machine that performs functions that are vital for us. Forests and grasslands cool the planet, clean our air, and create rain clouds, right? These are important for us and for the animals in them. Now, I'm hoping that at least you can agree on that, right? Now, the animals in them don't just occupy their place in the ecosystem like random actors on a stage. No, the whole ecosystem needs them as much as they need it. Probably heard people say that, right? So let me make my case for the elephant. Elephants are the largest mammals in Asia and Africa, and because of this, they actually play a really unique and often irreplaceable role in their ecosystem. And because I know the Asian elephant better, let's look specifically at the Asian elephant. First, not only do a lot of these elephants dig wells to get mineral-rich water, but they also leave behind a lot of footprints, which can fill with water. And this helps other small animals to access the same scarce resources. At the same time, these actions create microhabitats for lots of other creatures, like frogs, which can lay eggs in the water. And really, a single elephant footprint can eventually turn into a miniature world full of life. Of course, elephants must eat. They eat a lot. An elephant can eat just about any plant, even ones with thorns. It can strip the bark off a tree, which eventually might kill the tree. And at first this might sound really destructive and bad, but realize that a dead tree also makes a good home for other animals, like, say, birds that like to nest in the hollows. And because of their size and strength, elephants make short work of large fruits with shells that are difficult to crack. And other animals benefit from the fruits that drop on the ground as the elephants are foraging. And finally, the plants themselves benefit because, you see, elephants are gardeners. So here's the thing, without these elephants doing their thing in the environment, a lot of these other animals would not survive. Who are we to decide which animals should be in the ecosystem and which ones shouldn't? So take out the elephant and you lose just a lot of individual species, smaller species that depend on these elephants for the changes. More so than you might if you took out just hypothetically one small animal. And if we take it one step further, if we're actually comparing a native ecosystem to one that's either bulldozed for development, either urban or rural, say it's farming, then you're losing a lot of ecosystem services as well. The clean water that we drink and the air that we breathe are tied to that functioning ecosystem. So in the end, we all depend on those ecosystems to be healthy and vital. And getting back to the elephants, the native ecosystems where elephants are found depend on the elephant. So it's all kind of a cycle, right? I don't know if I made my case for the elephant. I think the elephant's just a really easy one. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you have any other reasons why we need to keep these big predators, big elephants, big herbivores, big animals in our ecosystem? All right, comments below.
Okay, so the other thing that he didn't mention was that elephants with their tusks actually do quite a lot of stuff. So with their tusks, they do a lot of digging. And in that digging, they also uncover earth, they move boulders, and they're very critical in terms of other herbivores getting access to salt licks. So in this case, in Malaysia at least, we know a few salt licks where other elephant communities visit and other herbivores visit as well. So these make really good hideouts for scientists and observers to go and watch these animals come and eat. So whenever there is herbivore, there will always be a predator. So if you're, I don't know if you consider it lucky or unlucky, you might spot a tiger, but I wouldn't want to be in a place with a tiger despite the romantic notion of seeing a Malaysian tiger alive. I think it's scary. So yeah, the next thing I'm going to share with you is just a quick brief of what this project is about. And so as you all know, this is about poster making. And I have just got from MEME a little bit of information. So we shared with you what we do in the publications. and these are the objectives right now. So they really are about raising awareness about elephant behavior and movements to identify what is conflict, and then to look at model communities. So when they talk about human-elephant conflict management, they want to have people understand, why do elephants behave the way they do? Why does the elephant movement cause so much destruction? So, it like the guy said in the video, it is perceived as destruction on one end, but on the flip side, it is also recreating, giving space for new growth to happen. And obviously, for all these things, although the scientists are finding the information in a very structured way, community doesn't understand it the same way. So that's why re-communicating this information through posters, through videos, through engagements and roadshows are really, really important to increase people's understanding and socializing these issues within communities, because they have different interests and different fears. So, okay, what is the challenge? The challenge is to create a poster which is A1 in size, to make it available in PDF, JPEG, or PNG. It can be any of these formats. So that means if you're drawing, you can draw and photograph it or scan it, and that will automatically turn it into these formats, to ensure that if you're using a digital, interface, everything you use is credit-free and will not have copyright issues when they publish it again. So I think the third one is referring to if you are using Canva, if you're using any photographs from the web. And the other thing to be very conscious about is, the elephants actually have a very different feature. The Asian elephants look very different from the African elephants. So getting the right images is also really, really important in producing these things. So this is the framework, and this is the options. So option A is to talk about the importance of elephants in your poster. It can be very specific to elephants as forest gardeners, as the video we watched just now. It could be very specific to it creating microhabitat. So the habitat part was what we watched. Forest gardeners is how you say, if you research a little bit about elephant, or you go to the ME website, we'll find little newsletters in their resource kit where it will talk about how elephants consume seeds whole. They eat the whole fruit, they digest it, they poop out the whole seed. So you'll find them eating mangoes in one place, and you'll find the same mango growing in another place, because as they walk along the path, they would poop, and the mango seed with all its dung will be a seed ball, and that would fertilize that little plant to grow into a big tree later on. So as much as they destroy, they also recreate. So that's what elephants as gardeners and create microhabitats about. And then in the B option, you can either talk about the tusk, the top of the head, the back, the ears, the trunk. So these are what factors differentiate a Asian elephant from an African elephant. Does anyone want to guess what is the difference between the back of an African elephant and an Asian elephant? No right or wrong answer. Just guess. Give it a go.
Can I give it a try?
Yeah, go for it. True, elephant person. Go for it again.
So, as for the Asian elephant, dia macam ada a bit bump lah, at the back of Asian elephant, while the African elephant is like what we call that? Macam dia lebih more to like U shape, but not so U shape.
Okay, Asian elephant is like this, and the African elephant is like that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so it looks more rounded as the body, as opposed to fatty at the bottom and curved at the top. Okay, cool beans. So, yeah. So then the head also has a different shape, right?
Yes,
you guys can Google while I'm talking. You can use your phone, you can Google. So do you guys recognize any difference in the head shape?
I think from the video the guy showed just now, his drawing showed that the Asian elephant has a slight hump in that was his drawing, I'm not sure. Looks like the African elephant's got a more flat head in a way.
Right. Okay. Yes. So the Asian elephant tends to have these two like moldy bits on the forehead, and they tend to have a longer forehead as well. Yeah. Do you feel like the elephant ears are very prominent in terms of Asian and African?
I think the African elephants would have bigger ears
Okay.
compared to the Asian ones.
Yeah, I think similarly to the tusk, the elephant ears are also very specific to their body shape. So if they're bigger bodied, I guess their ears are bigger to keep fanning them and getting mites off them. And I've heard that the African elephant has a more African continental shape to their ear, as opposed to the Asian elephant's ear is a bit rounded. So that's some comparison that I've heard before. And the tusk, the African elephant tusks are longer, because I'm assuming that the area is very dry, so the digging is a lot harder compared to the Asian elephant, where the tusk is shorter because it's wet, it's softer. And so that's the other thing. Another one that I realized is slightly different, and Jane, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the tail of the Asian elephant is very, very long. It almost sweeps the ground, as opposed to the African elephant, where the tail is a little bit higher up or shorter. Betul ke, Jane?
Yep.
Yay!
Yes,
That was
betul.
I was wondering in
Yes,
terms of the
betul.
tusk, right? Could it also be because they have more predators to fight against in Africa? Like, I don't know, predators that would bring them down, or predators that would
Possible.
bring the weaker group members down.
Mechanisms and stuff. Okay, so the last one that I've left is the trunk. You guys want to fancy a guess what makes one trunk different from the other? You want to try
Maybe the length.
the what? The length?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. The length. Okay, you want to try again? So it's not the
Jane, I
length.
think you're on mute.
Google. Oh wait, no.
Yeah, it's not the trunk. So what happens is, it's not the length. So what
Yes.
happens is, when the elephant trunk opens at the front, the Asian elephant only has one finger on the top, but the African
Yes.
elephant has the top and the bottom. So if you look at the picture on the right hand side, that is the description of the picture in the circle. If you look at the two circles, one shows the African elephant and one shows the Asian elephant. So it's that extension at the tip of the trunk that is different. So I think it's really, really interesting, because I didn't know that until very, very recently, that there was a difference in the extension. So these are two posters that other people have made. One is from Green Humor, and the other one I can't really see because it's hidden by it's by Thompson Safaris. So, these are two sample of posters that people have made before. And if you see the one on the right is more like scientific, it's got like photograph of two elephants, and then it's kind of like informed you in categories: ears, trunk, head, height, weight, in a very organized way. And on the left side, you see a very simple, playful, but effective, poster. So these are two styles that you can see that people have used to create this information. So the idea of this poster competition is for people to take these categories like you've seen just now, whether it's the information is about elephants as forest gardeners, which is that little poop version on the left, or creating microhabitats, which is more like that video, which was a bit longer, or giving you the opportunity to talk about the physiology of the elephant. So you can talk about it from a difference as a comparative, because then people see, oh, it's actually, it's not just that I'm talking about the tusk, but I'm talking about the tusk in comparison to the African elephant. So the other kinds of posters look like this. So like this one here by Ketsa, it's talking about how people can participate in this campaign. So it tells you the steps of something. So the way this poster is developed is for you to know how to participate in something, compared to the one on the right, where it's really talking about how to deal with an emergency when you see a snake, because you don't know if the snake is poisonous or not. And so it tells you what to do and what not to do. So there are 4 different types of posters here that you can choose from in terms of making your poster for this project. So it comes down to your creativity in researching these topics. How does elephants look different, or why they look different? So like we discussed earlier about maybe the task is longer because the soil is harder. Maybe they have their footprint has a different shape slightly from the African elephant, or maybe the size comparison. So all these things you can actually Google, and you need to validate the information before you turn them into any of these posters. So this is what MEME has produced, and I think this was produced some time ago. It just very briefly tells you a lot of facts, and it's a lot of writing and very little actual image. So I feel like this type of posters are nice, but for a kid, they cannot read so many things. I rather have a series of 4 little posters that can be put together as a grid than one poster that stuffs everything in. So I guess one of the important things to note is that when you are making posters, you want to know who you're making it for. So if you know who the audience is, whether they are 7 to 10-year-olds, or are they teenagers, so like 13 to 18-year-olds, or they're adults, and even with adults, there are many different categories of adults. Are you writing this poster for a person in the community? Are you writing this poster for a farmer? So then the language changes. Maybe you can't use English, maybe you have to use Bahasa Malaysia. So I think these are not required by the application. However, it would help your thinking around the poster making to have these aspects considered. So when you submit your poster, on your cover letter, you could say I made this poster to address this audience, and that's why I focus on this angle. So if you guys want to share with me your take, what poster would you think of making from the option A and option B and the different items that they have there?
So for me,
yeah, you go first.
no, you go first. That's fine.
Jade, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So for me, I think I would want to go with the creating microhabitats one. And I think that I prefer to go with maybe like a bit more of the second poster, the one with the 2
one?
Something like this slide. Yeah, this slide.
Okay.
Because I think that
the microhabitat.
Yeah, because I like that they have the informative stuff at the bottom, and it's a bit more serious. But I think having illustrations makes it a bit more fun.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I had an exercise with students in the past where the kids drew their own stuff, and then they scanned it and they put it on Canva. So that's a really good way of using a digital platform and incorporating your illustration in. So that's an idea that you could attempt, where you combine the both and have this hand drawing feel, at the same time have the facts and very nice, clean layout. Nice. Timoli?
Okay. For me, I think I wanted to say about the creating the microhabitats as well. Okay. Because I think that's something I would like to learn myself, like to research more, and because invertebrates especially, they make up most of the population in the ecosystem, and not many people are aware about that. And I would go for the infographic on the left because I find it very cute, and I think it would be a very interesting way to informally put up all the information, maybe like a mind map around the picture, or like an animation image of the elephant in the middle. And
Nice.
you know, the background could be like a tropical I mean, it depends on whether if you're going for an African elephant or an Asian elephant. Yeah, that would be my take on
Cool.
it.
Nice. Yeah, I think that sounds very exciting to be able to imagine all these facts but in a friendlier way. Yeah. Jane, kalau kamu buat poster, macam mana rupanya?
African and elephant punya differences between African and Asian too.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit more fact. How say heavy
More fake lah. Yes, because saya perasan dekat Sabah, dekat sini, they still don't know between apa. Even look at the picture, they don't know how to differentiate between African and Asian elephants. So I'm planning to use like the real picture of African and Asian elephant lah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think this picture is really good because it shows the back, shows the head, and the only thing you can't really see is the finger on the end of the trunk. But everything else, yeah, it's quite clear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So yeah, Hafiz, you want to have a go at what poster you want to make based on these items?
I think both A and B are interesting, but I would lean a bit more to B, like what Jane mentioned. And if I'm able to, I would like to, you know how you overlay like a dotted drawing of the Asian and African? So it's two elephants, and then you connect the dots to create which elephant you think, I guess which features makes the Asian elephant, or which features makes the African elephant. Like, as in, do you outline the big body with a small trunk, or do you outline the small body with a small trunk? You know, it's something like, it's a poster, but it makes you think. That's just an idea right now, but I don't know. Guess I need to test it out.
All these ideas are really great. I think when you are developing it, like for instance, Hafi's idea or Timoli's idea, you want to be very clear, who is your audience? Are you speaking to a teenager or are you speaking to a young person? So if it's a younger person, it needs to be simpler to read, it needs to be bigger words, you know, it just, you kind of have to help them understand what you're trying to say. Because the big thing I realized about all this science communication thing is that nobody understands jargon until it's explained to them in a simple way. Nobody understands images if they cannot relate to it. So that's why you see a lot of people talking about scale, or this elephant is the weight of 3 BMX bicycles. Okay, probably not lah, probably 10 BMX or 11 BMX bicycles. But they're trying to show that the audience that they're talking to is young kids who know how heavy a BMX bicycle is. So they're making these comparisons so that people understand. So for instance, the footprint of the elephant, right? How heavy is an elephant to create such a deep footprint? How soft must the ground be? So, you know, it's these simple things that actually create a lot of this intel that people remember when they see it, and they retain this information for future use. And I think that's the higher impact of poster making. There was something I wanted to say before we leave, was that, yeah, so if I made a poster, I would love to make a poster where I can get a picture of an elephant using his tusk to break a fruit, because I have not seen that picture yet. That's on my bucket list. I want to see an elephant break something with his tusk. It sounds a bit ganas, but I think, you know, then it makes sense why it's sharp. Then it makes sense why it's hard. Then it makes sense why it's long. You know, I need, as a learner, I need to see this evidence. And I think that's what excites me the most about doing this kind of research, is when I think about the ears and I go and Google it and I go and find out how big are the ears, how much wind does it flap, how often does the elephant move his ears, you know, does he just twitch it once in a while, how soft is it, how thick is it? So, we know that the ear is there to regulate and cool the elephant's blood, right? Because it's the thinnest part of his body. But there's so many more things about the ears I don't know. So I think that's the beautiful thing about making posters. You can focus in on one thing that's very specific, and you can tell a very interesting visual story. And that could be the most important thing you learn about elephants your whole lifetime. And it will be the thing that people would read and learn from, and that would change the way we look at elephants and elephant landscapes and human-elephant conflict. So with that, I hope you guys join the poster making contest. I hope you guys have fun with researching the stuff. I don't know why it's not moving. Yeah, and I hope that you guys, have fun with this. And thank you so much for coming on board. And Canva is a really good platform to apply your artistic skills.
When we talk about seed dispersing, you can actually see in the dung all these little seeds. And this is now, I'll also show you what it is when it's on a tree. But you can just see inside there, all of them, all these seeds. You can just imagine how a ball like this can also be beneficial for grass. And this is actually now a thorn tree, a cirkelbos, but I'll show you the little seeds, and they've been devouring that yesterday. But you can see all these dung balls are filled with those seeds. It looks a little bit drier now, but even if you just take it outside, just look at that.
Elephants are not like cows or goats or antelope. They're not ruminants, so they don't have a second stomach and a complicated digestive system. They're much more like horses. They rely on eating a lot, taking relatively little out of their food, and then passing through the rest. Elephants need to spend so much time eating because they don't take very much nutrition out of their food. They rely on high throughputs, we call it. So they eat a lot, they make a lot of dung, and they're continuously putting new stuff into their system. So here we have a full-sized elephant dung, and this is obviously an old one, which is why I'm touching it. But you can see if I break this open, it's kind of tough. It's all like straw, and this is because this is all the grass that elephants are eating. This is the non-digestible parts of it, lots of fiber in this one. And you can see the grass seeds in here. So this dung has been kind of baked in the sun. It's really dried out. But sometimes what you find is that you find plants actually start growing out of this, because this is a nice little bit of fertilizer ready deposited for seeds to start germinating. So sometimes when you break them open, you find germinating seeds. It's also not uncommon to find that the dung gets pulled apart like this, and this can happen when animals like baboons search through looking for insects that are feeding on the dung. If you broke this open and you were with forest elephants, you'd see this would be full of seeds. And there's actually some certain species of plants where the trees grow better if they've passed through the digestive tract of an elephant. So if you take elephants out of an ecosystem, this seed dispersal capacity that they have gets really reduced, and it really changes how plant communities develop and establish. So when an elephant deposits a dung pile like this, what they're doing is they're depositing more plant matter back onto an area, and that's the stuff that helps build soils. So it's a habitat for insects. You'll find other animals rootling through to find those insects and get the protein that's there. But you get these basically areas where you end up with soil breaking down. And so this is part of the nutrient recycling that goes on in an ecosystem. You can even see on this dung here, there's a whole little set of an ecosystem growing up. There's flies laying eggs in here. There'll be dung beetles coming along, taking bits away for their own reproduction.
So this is a beautiful little seed bed. It's a pile of elephant dung packed with nutrients and seeds, which for the past few weeks has been sitting on the forest floor in the rain. As you can see, there are several species of plant growing out of it. If you look around this forest, most of the species of trees in tropical forests in Africa and Southeast Asia and Latin America depend on animals to disperse their seeds. I often talk about gorillas being the gardeners of the forest, and chimpanzees and orangutans, in fact all the primates, in fact all the animals that eat fruit. And of course the biggest animal that eats fruits is the elephant. That's why they've been described as the mega gardeners of the forest. And that's why ivory poaching isn't just a crime against elephants, doesn't just cause unimaginable suffering and cruelty to families of elephants, intelligent social mammals, the adults of which, each of whom has a brain 4 times the size of a human brain. That's bad enough. But where elephants are being driven to local extinction, where forests like this that depend on elephants to disperse the seeds, particularly of the trees with large seeds, seeds that can't pass through a smaller animal, they need elephants. Now these forests are carbon stores, they're oxygen generators, they're rainfall producers. And without the elephants and the other animals that eat fruit and disperse seeds, these forests are dying. That's why when you look at ivory poaching statistics, when you think of the crime of killing an animal for its front teeth, you have to think not just of the cruelty and suffering to the animal and its family, but also to the effect you're having on the planet as a whole.